SFEG technology screens. We're going to be doing a basic, simple demonstration. We've done these before. It's called a multi-screen setup. This is where you have multiple projectors running in one environment. And usually something like this would be expensive at the end of the day because you're running 3 projectors. Some of these projectors even cost you $1,000, which is cheap for some of the high-end machines, but $1,000 would be $3,000 right from the door. So this can get costly, this can get expensive. On top of that, you'll have to worry about spending the money for inky contrast projector because of the contrast issues you're going to have when doing with the gray or white screen. You're going to have that contrast issue. And that's where I tell people that, you know, if you're thinking at the end of the day that, a gray and white screen won't do damage and cost you more money, do a multi-projector setup. See how expensive it gets. It's very expensive. So, mind you, these are 3 machines we have here. My full cost for my machines, which I have a QME Q2 portable projector 720p, I paid $40 for. That's the new one we just got. That's the ViewSonic. I got to give you the model number of the ViewSonic. But that's the ViewSonic projector. That's the QME. That's the Chrissy. The Chrissy projector I paid $50 for. I got 2 of these. I paid $60 for one, $50 for the other. And this one over here, the ViewSonic, this one over here cost me, like I said, $130. That's basically about it. That's 235.1 setting for that one. So usually, if people are doing multiple projector setups, the first thing to do is going to get a 4K projector because they want the highest resolution they can possibly get because they don't want to lose any picture quality. They're definitely going to be buying a projector with a really high contrast because, again, the gray and white screen are not going to give them that, so they're going to have an issue there. So that means this is going to cost you a lot of money. If the projector's for $1,000, that means you just spent $3,000 already from the door for 3 projectors, but most likely you're going to pay more than $1,000. Now, the company that we did the fish tank for, they were going to spend $3,000 for projector. They wanted 4 of these things. That would have been extremely expensive if they did it that way. So we're going to do a basic, simple setup on how we do it. Now we're going to be using this projector on our new technology over here. This is the SFEG, Sun Fusion Energy Gain. I'm going to hook this one up. This is my little QME right here. And as I told you before, none of these projectors will work on gray screens. They don't work on white screens because they can't pick up the contrast level. This projector has a 10,001 contrast, and it still won't read on a gray and white screen. So that means that if I spend $40 for this, you're going to be spending a lot more money just to get it to work. Let me go over here and get this done. Now this is the AdTech technology. This stuff is their future technology, which is designed to pretty much pull up on anything. Raise up a little bit. There we go. We got some abstract art pulling off on there right now. Now what makes it easier to use our technology, especially for business, is that we don't require high-end projectors. And because we don't require high-end projectors, our cost is extremely low. Because our technology can read in high lumen light environments. Also, too, has the ability to never worry about calibrating or any of that nonsense at all. We don't have to worry about spending a lot of money. Ooh, I want this one right here. I want to do a ring loop display on this thing. There we go. Now that's from a 300 lumen projector. I'm going to set up my ViewSonic, which is 235.1, which I'm going to do over here. My water bottle all the way. Is this thing empty? I don't even know if it's empty. Now this projector I just purchased, I got it for $130. I'm going to fire stick to the back of this one. That screen looks so crazy enough. It's not understand. Alright. That's on 235.1. Now we come over to this one. Let me see. We're using Taco's Fire Stick, so Taco's Fire Stick has a lot of cartoons on it. But he likes cartoons. Now this screen right here does 235.1. It's a panel system setup. There's 6 panels. Each panel is 24 by 36. In order to get the 235.1 from the projector, we had to set the panels at 36 in length and 24 in height, which gives the screen a 108-inch span up to a height of actually 48. Which I have to do some demonstrations showing you. People are asking like, well, how do you get the 69 and so forth? We'll show you. Alright, so the Taco's Cartoon World. Let me see. 4K tropical fish OLED? No. Inside. I'm doing a multi-setup. I don't need you on camera doing weird stuff. He's got his bunker. He's got a big bunker over here he chills in. But Taco will be on camera doing weird stuff. He can't come out when I'm doing videos. One thing about this cat, which I'm very blessed to have, I never ever have to worry about him jumping on counters or nothing. If I tell him to stay in a certain area, he will stay in that area. Never have any problem with him running around rampant carrying on. He's a blessing, he is. He does some crazy stuff, they all do, but he is a blessing. That's something I never have to worry about. Alright, I'm going to get some beautiful fish for my swing here. Some beautiful tropical fish. There we go. I like that. There we go. So some beautiful fish. A boring, dark background. Now, that right there is in 720p. Alright? So now we're going to switch over here. So the screen we have here. And we're going to be in, what's a minute? We're at 235 on this one. This one over here, we're going to be in 1610. Definitely going to be opening up the door because it's going to get hot in here. It usually does when you're running multiple projector setups. Alright, we got the Chrissy projector. Chrissy projector cost me roughly $50. I got 2 of these models. One has an extended zoom lens, which I do have one here. I talked about the extended zoom lens. Some people get that and don't know what it is, and then they fire it up and they think there's something wrong with their screen, and it's not. Your lens at 100 feet, you'll probably roughly get, like at 100 feet, you think you'll get 100 inches. You get 50 inches at 100 feet. Because it's designed for a long throw application. That's why. But that lens on it is very expensive. Usually, sometimes they don't want to pull it off, they'll leave it on there. And then there's 2 types of Chrissies. There is a Chrissy with the bridge, As you can see, bridge, and one has no bridge at all. I think we do have one here that has no bridge. So the no bridge is the more high performance version. Even though the Rode 720p, that one has a more high performance lens sitting inside of it. And then we have a no bridge here. Let me see. Let's see. That's what I do right here. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Here we go. So, this is a Chrissy without the bridge. No bridge, bridge. The no bridge means that it's a more high performance lens. This is a zoom lens. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a standard lens. That's why I said that when people sit there and say, venue projectors, you have to know your venue projectors. Can't say, hey, I work with venues because your stuff hit a venue projector. No, you actually have to know the difference between the machines. Both these machines are LW400s. The model number here, LW400, LW400. What's the difference between the two machines? They look exactly the same. You have to know this. Sony FA31s, 32s, FA30, 31s, and 36s all look exactly the same. There's a difference between those three projectors on what they're able to do. But if you haven't had experience with the machines and you're just basically just saying, hey, I work with venue, then you don't know what you're talking about, because these machines do something completely different. It's a different type of machine, different type of menu. Customers should be advised when they get these, notice that the menus that are in these machines are very, very detailed. There's so much you could do with them that you can't do with a regular projector. Regular projector, your keystone may be, I don't know, 2. On here, your keystone can be 20. So you have so many different ways you can shift your screen. You can literally slant your projector to the side and still adjust it in there perfectly. Lens shift capabilities, which means you have the ability, this is a beaut right here, because if you're mounting your screen up to the ceiling, you're going to have it exactly in line with the screen. This right here means you don't have to be straight with your screen. You can be a little off here, maybe got a bookcase in the way. You can slide a little bit over, it doesn't make a difference. These buttons right here will allow you to shift the image right back in that same spot, even though the projector is a little bit off this way. This is also good for this type of technology. This is a projector that's fantastic for it. That's why I said that when we get people talking about invisible technology who do not know what they're talking about, mind you, when you're talking about visible in technology, you have to get that right. Because the surface that you're landing that on is very expensive. And if you mess that up, the person can take you to court and sue you for a storefront window that could easily cost you $6,000, $7,000, $9,000, $10,000, probably higher than that, depending on what type of glass they used and how they had to install it. This is very expensive. Plexiglass, expensive. And keep in mind, if you damage that screen, you don't get it right the first time, you can't fix it. It's damaged because it's a front and rear technology. Unlike a front, if you damage the screen, you can kind of cover it up or mask it. This you can't, because the image shows up on both sides. Imperfection here, imperfection other side. So you have to know what you're doing. That surface has to come up clean. So how clean the image comes up, when it comes off, has to be clean. What you call it, a clean transfer. There is so much stuff that they don't know. I've seen with other companies, they know what they're talking about, but I've seen amateurs try to make invisible technology and don't know anything at all. When I watched one of the videos, you can literally see black spots peppered through the surface, and they're on the other side. Now, for them, they think it's excellent because they can see an image. No, that black pepper means whatever you put in there didn't dissolve correctly, it didn't marry well, and now it's leaving an image that's transferring to the other side. So when people are looking at a screen, when you say white level, they want to see how you test it. You show a white level on visible, and you go to the opposite side. And if it's a clean white, that means it's a clean transfer. Again, they don't know this because they don't do enough testing and rear projection technology. We do. So can't just consume that because you can make something that's see-through that it's definitely going to work. Different caliber projectors could affect the screen. Environments can affect the screen, especially outside will definitely affect the screen on so many levels it's not even funny. So there's a lot of things. And the reason why, when I ask questions like what type of projector will be used for a screen that's completely transparent, they'll say, oh, we'll just use a regular. No. You don't know what you're talking about. You've already told me you know nothing at all. This is the type of projector you use. Why? Because ultra short throw, basically bounces from a mirror back to the screen, like the mirror effect when we put projectors in front of it to make a short throw. It cancels out the lamp glare when it ricochets off the mirror. These, on the other hand, if you have a lot of room, or if you have one that's a short throw, you can put this projector up high and put the image down low. That means the lamp glare doesn't make any contact with the screen, but the picture does. So you can shift the picture down here, down there, that make the image, but the lamp glare won't come with it. That's why these are very important when you buy projectors. The problem is that when you buy these particular type of projectors, venues are super expensive. You can literally buy a house for some of these things, how much they cost. But because we did tons of research for years and years and years on particular types of projectors, we did research on how much the lamps cost, if a lens gets damaged, how much it costs to replace a lens. On the back of the projector, you see this right here? You see that screw right here? And you see that screw right there? This isn't to take off the back. This is to remove the interface. The interface can pull out of these things, so you can actually replace the entire interface. It locks in, just like you put in a hard drive. Exactly the same way. See, they won't tell you any of that stuff. That's why when I ask people, when I say, hey, what type of venue projector are you using in a demonstration, they don't reply back. They don't even know what the projector is. They don't know if it's a short, long throw. They don't know anything whatsoever, period. So if they say ultra short, then you lied. You know why? Because ultra short, though, lenses on those projectors are weird looking. They have this kind of weird telescopic lens that pops back here. It's crazy looking. No, that's not ultra short, though. That'd be short throw. So you don't know what you're doing. What I mean by not y'all, I mean by we've had people like Fernando. Fernando literally doesn't know anything about venue, but he had a habit of saying venue all the time, and his specification sheet said, buddy, you don't know anything about venues. So I asked him a simple question. What's the difference between the LX 400 and the difference between the LW 400 projector? What's the difference between those two? And they responded back. The LW is WXGA, and the LX is they're both 720p. It's an SVGA. That's the difference between the two. But only by that one model number. So if someone asks for an LX 700, what type of projector is an LX 700? Would that be a projector that carries a road case or not a road case? And question, what is a road case? Couldn't tell me anything. You should know that. So if a company comes up, see, the reason why when you don't know this information and you think you're just splashing around some paints and throwing them on the screen, no, you have to know your machines too. You know your machines, you have to know your environment, you have to know all that stuff. Especially you have to know math, you're going to have to know chemistry, and you're going to have to know physics. So you're going to have to know all this stuff in order to get this thing to work correctly. If not, what's going to happen is you're going to use the cop-out excuse, which is going to be dark environments to fix your screen, high-power projectors to fix your screen, calibration to fix your screen. That's why they tell you that stuff, because they haven't got to figure it out. There you go. You should know your machines. Now, for the big companies, they do know their machines. They do. They're quite aware of their machines. They know their machines. But still, at the end of the day, the machines really don't work on their screens because they can't read black. And I can't express that enough. Why you must know how to read. You have black on your screen, but you must read. Now, projectors we just showed here for this demonstration, none of these. Oh shoot. I was sitting on my glasses. These are destructive glasses, I tell you. None of these will work with a gray or white screen. No matter how much you get on your knees and wish upon a shiny star, it's not going to work. Why? Because you can't read that one color that's important. You can't see black. That's why. So all these projectors in here are completely useless. I've done this. I did a demonstration on a multi-wall. We painted the entire wall. We did multi-projector setups, and we put a gray surface on each one of them. We did a color, contrast, didn't read. All right, I'm going to pull my projector back here. What I need for this little doohickey to do what it needs to do. We actually need that. We don't need that right there. Okay, let me get a cord for this. Now we're going to set this one. So we got 1610, 16.9, 235.1. Let's get another projector set up in here. That's why I say you should know your stuff. You should know your stuff. You should know it. That's 235.1. That is invisible technology. That is more light needed in the room. I got the new ones coming in. These are the covers I had to keep me from getting migraines and headache. At one point, one of these sent me to the hospital. So yeah, lights are too bright in here. But we are going to be getting the new ones in, which I thought these would give me, no, they're just too dark in here for these. It just makes me depressed. I mean, I don't start getting depressed. The lights are too dim in here. So we're definitely going to be getting the other ones. For anyone on the channel to sit there and say, well, your room's dark too. You don't know what I do for a living? Do you know what we do? You know what we do? When it comes to ambient light rejection technology, please do not step down that road, please. Matter of fact, I got to build me a page for our ambient light rejection demonstrations. We do everything when it comes to ambient light. We play outside if we want. Yeah, and I'm the last person anyone can sit there and say your stuff isn't, you're in the dark. No, don't do that. Don't do that. As a matter of fact, I'm building me a page. The reason why we're building pages on this because when we have people to come in, forum site, and they say, well, what's the difference between your product and black paint? We don't go pick out a video. We got literally a whole entire website page designed around it. We could drop a whole page on you. Hope you got some coffee and something to eat because you're going to be there for a while. That's a lot of videos. So that's what we're doing. We're building one for the ambient light rejection demonstrations. Inside, outside, it's going to be this massive page with all this stuff on it. So we can say, hey, next time somebody runs their mouth and says, hey, or asks us a question, they need to be educated and say, hey, what do you guys do with ambient light rejection? Boom! We just put it right there for you. Tons of it. Tons of information. Tons. When I do my demonstrations, I try to do something, or I want to do something that no one else is doing. If you go to the other site, which is Dominion, it's going to be changing pretty soon. It is going to be ILEG, but it'll be gunmetal. That's going to be a space specialized for gunmetal technology. We have the largest grid in there for outdoor demonstrations. Let's see. I gotta remember. I remember it had all fire sticks. Whew, that was a nightmare, man. They had like 10 fire sticks on you. I'm trying to figure out which one goes to which, and they don't respond back to themselves. I'm like, oh my goodness. I spent the video hunting for a fire stick, and I literally had it in my hand the whole entire time. The whole time! Alright, let me see. We're going to switch out. We got what's running from here to here. Cool. Let me see. Outputs, baby. Outputs. Outputs. Didn't we just get a new HDMI cable from the guy who sent this? I got to go give him a review, too. Because, man, that projector was... Oh, look at the reflection off that. That projector was on point. That's a short throw, by the way, if anybody wants to know. There's a short throws. And that's when we've done dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds, of 235.1 builds. So again, this is why I explained to you that if you're going to get into this field and you're thinking that only 16.9 is going to come across your path, you're sadly mistaken. You have basically limited yourself to where you can't get that money at the end of the day. And why? Because what if somebody wants 235.1? What is your knowledge in 235.1 setup? How much money can you save them on a 235.1 projector? There you go. Not all the high ends have 235.1. Only certain select ones have. And some of them don't even say they're 235.1. You have to buy it to figure it out. So you can't give that to a customer and say, hey, look, maybe this projector may have a 235. I don't even know. Well, see, there you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble that way. Because they'll buy something that doesn't have it and they'll blame you for it. Which is actually your fault. What about 1610? Do you know screen sizes for 1610? They're odd sizes. You see it on a projector all the time. People say, what the heck is 1610? It pops up on every projector. It must be a screen that's utilized. It must be a screen that's used. Even the new projectors have 1610. So if that's the case, what are the sizes for 1610? Now someone asks you that question. You don't know that one either. So guess what? That's an order you just missed out on. Or a business contract you could have missed out on. So you don't know that either. All right. So what if somebody wants to go old school? What's old school? It's old school 4.3? Actually, old school is not 4.3. It's actually our aspect ratio is lower than that, 1.1. That means you're using 35 millimeter, 4.3, you can use 35 millimeter. We want to actually bounce it back old school and use 35 millimeter, it'd be 1.1. That's why I said when they come to my channel, people who usually are not knowing what they're doing, let me tell you, there's two types of people come to our channel. Let's do three. There is the haters, of course, we all know that from the door. One just left a few minutes ago. There is the people who also are haters and do make screen paints but don't know jack. And that's why they come to us. They just left. They come to us because they don't know anything. We educate you, and then you turn around and say you're better than us by using our knowledge, which we've seen that happen in the specification sheet. We've seen somebody literally take our, or we'll just say who it is. Jamie, Crow 1176, literally took our entire specification sheet, put it to his website. Why? He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to write a proper specification sheet. He doesn't do testing. So he steals our stuff. He steals our customers' pictures to try to make his stuff look good. That's what he did on his Facebook page. But anyway, he doesn't have it anymore, by the way. But anyway, they steal our stuff. But we're the ones that don't know what we're talking about. Mind you, when you do this, and you know what I'm going to say from the door, you mean you talk about God. You know, our technology all comes from God. We give praise to God every day. This is God's technology. So when you do that, you say God is delirious. You say God is delusional. You say God's product is a scam. You say God's product is a ripoff. That's something you wouldn't say, right? Because, you know, that's a very dangerous thing and road to step on it. But you do it. You do it. And we come out here and do what we do every day. And then you guys get angry and repeat the same nonsense. Boy, I tell you. The field of crushing people. It's unbelievable. Oh, we're going to be showing up that black screen. When we talked about, we got a prototype over here that turns a gray screen yellow. That's going to be fun. We got that planned for today. Every time I sit there and say that, oh, we got to wait for stuff to get here. We still got to do it in the builds. And then I realized that we got all these screens here. We haven't even done a multi-screen setup on here. It's absolutely insane. All right, let me see. All right, so we're just going to take this off here. I can't look at. Oh, wait. Is this it? I know I have one on here somewhere. I was just thinking about buying one of these, an HDMI cable, and lo, the Lord blessed us to have one right here from the fellow who sold us the projector that we're using right now. Now, for the customers or people doing business, at the end of the day, the reason why anyone that does a multiple screen setup, why it doesn't truly work, why? Can't read black. And if they can't read the black level, what's going to happen is this project is going to get very expensive for you, because they're going to advise you to buy projectors that will fix their screen. And this environment we have right now, a gray screen still can't operate. We did the demonstration multiple times in here on a QME 2 projector. A gray screen can't read. In this environment, even though we have it, it can't read in here. In the dark, they still don't pick up next to a black screen. We've done that too. There's a video I did called Mr. Mannequin. It's a mannequin we have sitting in the back. It shows you how much harmful white light splashes off a gray screen and white screen right back in your face. And you're taking all that white light in there. That's why the screen washes out. This is why dedicated theater room, and somebody mentioned on their channel, we'll give them credit again, Jamie Fernando Gonzalez. The reason why we mentioned it multiple times because you have made these statements, and I have you in video making these statements. You should not be doing this if you don't know what you're doing. So bottom line is, white and gray screens are the absolute worst thing to use. Why? Because the light reflection that comes off the screen splashes all through the environment. That's why they have to darken their walls in there to try to absorb some of the light that's splashing off the screen. Where our technology doesn't have that issue because it's black, it absorbs everything, much like a black hole. Oh! We should make an ultra black dedicated screen paint for dedicated theater rooms. That'd be a cool nickname for it. It does absorb all the light. It's freaking insane. All right, now we're going to fire up our projector over here. Roughly 50 bucks. All these projectors run at 720p. If anyone tells you on the market today, excuse me, that you have to buy a 4K projector, they lie to you because you don't. And if they sit there and say, oh, well, you can't do it on 720p, hey, point them to Mr. Bird. I would love to have a chat with him. Because when they saw my screen, they're a believer, they're a believer, they're a believer. Yeah, point them in my direction. Anyone on any forum site, point them in my direction. Oh, wait a minute. Now I know why we're kicking on this. This feed is from... What is that? That is from the, what you call it? Oh, wrong one. Wrong feed. I need to put this in this one. Like, why am I playing this on here? We're going to run that on my other PC. This one's going to go in here. And if I have multiple PCs. Alright, so let me see. was on the flower PC. Doing some reading. I'm going to get myself a micro PC converted to the ultimate retro buy. And here we're at 16:9. I want 16:10. See, 16:10 is for the widescreen. Everybody thinks it's 16:9. No. See, if I put it down at 16, it says 4.9. So that's 16:9 right there. Watch the screen change when I put it all the way over in 16:10. See how wide it is? That's widescreen. When you get a venue projector, it'll show you readings on the top, and when you see the 16:10 next to it, it'll say widescreen. Now there's another aspect ratio which we have here, which is actually 14.9. You've heard of those before? Oh, there's a whole bunch of letterbox. There's a bunch of them. But they usually stick to the comfortable numbers, 16:9. So it's a comfortable number. But you are going to run into 235.1, especially if people are doing like screens that are linking together. They want these really long wraparound screens. You're going to do them at 235.1 or 239.1. And you have real and all these right here, normal. 4.3. It's good if you're using it for arcade games and stuff like that. That's what the application comes in looking nice for. Almost similar to the same as 16:10, to tell you the truth. Alright. Now, we had multi-screen setup. It cost me roughly $220 to do my whole setup. I gotta take the stand off here because I gotta be stand up to show. Yeah, you better not be. You better not be over there doing weird stuff again. Give me that round. The argument man over there. Future technology. That's future technology right there. So, not a lot of money. So we got $130, 720p. $50, 720p. $40, CUNY, 720p. I was dying to do a whatchamacallit here for a bit. Yeah, tell me about it. That right, Taco Bear, Taco Bear, Taco Bear, Taco Bear. Taco Bear, Taco Bear, Taco Bear. Our stuff is all ambient light projection technology. We can have the office lit. It doesn't bother anything in here. Look at the image that comes off of that. 720p. See how beautiful that image looks? These ain't special 4K high-end projectors in here. We don't require them. People who base at the end of the day, well, your screens don't work, you have to have 4K. That's why you advise your customers to spend the money for the most expensive screen you could possibly think of, projector you can possibly think of, to fix your problem. Now, if you're dealing with gray and white screens, you're going to spend a lot of money because you can't read contrast. Let me show you something here. Have a little fun here. Do something you can't do. Look at my setup over here. My cardboard thing. I'm working on cardboard sculptures over there. This is why we block our heat all the time, because we don't need it. Literally, projectors to heat this section. I'm so quick, it's not even funny. Starfield screensaver. That's if she's listening. Starfield screensaver. I tell you, fire sticks. That's what I need batteries for. Outer space screensavers. Oh, but you heard that. You heard that crystal clear. Or definitely that crystal clear. I did this one right here. Sure, that one crystal clear. Oh, getting it from YouTube. Lord. All right, let me see. This one. This one's abstract. This over here. Keep this in the way. That one. We don't have microphones. Oh, sorry about that. We got new keyboards coming in. My keyboards. Wait. Oh. Damn it. Keyboard mix up. Sorry, people. We got a keyboard mix up. I'm thinking I'm used to being on this keyboard all the time. I'm thinking it's this one. It's not. That's the keyboard over there. All right. I'm going to take this one. Go over here. Expand this screen. So here is this expansion. Expansion. I need expansion. Expansion. Alright, can you give me expansion? You know what I asked for. Alright, I'm gonna be a jerk about it, and guess what? I'll use something else. It's just me arguing with the other machine. I'll take some liquid flow on this one. Alright, we'll do liquid flow on this one. Expand that one, and we'll do this one with my keyboard. That one, the right one. Let me see. That you should be able to read. You should be able to read that with no problem. So, if you can't pick up this right here, then there's an issue. And we don't have a lot of light in here when we got it blocked. So you should be able to read this with no problem whatsoever. If you can't pick that up in your environment, then you have a problem. Your screen is not working correctly. Your projector's working perfectly fine. These projectors in here, this one over here has a 22,000 to 1 contrast sitting on top of it. That can't read on a gray screen. Let me show you something here. Now, dynamite contrast, I think that's what it's called. I don't even know why you would have this on the screen. It's black. I mean, we got to fix this right here because that came damaged when I got the Surface. These, I like the Surface, but when they shipped them, the edge just got damaged, so we have to replace all that. But anyway, I need it for right now. But I was going to say, yeah, so that dynamite contrast, it doesn't apply to these screens. They're black. What the freak? That's like putting black on black. That's just not going to work. It's not going to make it blacker because you put black on black. This is backwards. I'm going to settings and let me see where we have that at. Go back. Here it is right there. That's it right there. All right. Dynamite contrast range. All right. Now, see right here? See where it says off? You know why it's off? We don't need to use it. Why? Our screens are black. That's why. That's why we don't require it. But a gray and white screen, you got to turn that on. You need that because your screen can't read. They don't read in here. Now, oops, just knocked out this machine real quick. This machine over here has a 2,000 to 1 contrast. 2,000 to 1 contrast, right? Now, if we turn this on, now this has a 20,000 to 1. Does it make a difference? It don't make a difference. It doesn't. Because they can read black. Both can read black. Doesn't really make a difference. You know why? Because the screens are black. Doesn't make a difference. But if you have a white screen or a gray screen, and that one reads 20,000 to 1 contrast, and this one reads 2, it'll make a slight little different. That means that in order to improve your contrast levels, you have to spend more money for a higher contrast to read better because your screen can't pick it up. That's why it costs you more money. These are the demonstrations you're going to have in the showroom. And these demonstrations you're going to have, they're going to explain why these screens don't work. It's not enough to come on camera and talk about ... We have to show you this. So, let's start for running through here. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, it's on. Oh, scars go darker. I say, wait a minute. I know my machine better be on. It's on. That's a really dark scene. Can we get a space station there? Can we get a station right here? Cockpit design. But anyway, yeah. So, if I have 2 screens in here, both of them are gray in here. The problem I'm going to have is that the projector that has the better contrast is going to give me the somewhat, not, you're not getting black, by the way, you're getting a darker shade of gray. That's what's going to help you. That's it. And here, what you're seeing in the demonstration, it doesn't make a difference if the projector has a high contrast or not. It doesn't really make a difference. They're going to read black regardless. That's the whole purpose when we develop our technology, that no matter what projector you buy, it really doesn't make a difference. If it has no contrast, some contrast, or whatever, you're still going to receive an infinity contrast level that's higher than any projector on the market that claims to be to put that contrast level out. Now, do they have that capability? They do. Can the screen see it? It can't. That's the problem. And that's why they cheat you and stick you in a dark environment and say, hey, look. Now, mind you, look at the light we have in here, right? If you can't survive in here, I know your environments are ultra dark. That's another thing that tells me today. If you can't survive in this lighting we have in here, that means your environments are ultra dark in there. Because any lighting in there, which I showed in a demonstration, a simple cell phone flashlight can wash out a gray screen in a dark environment. And if that's the case, that means you can't have any light in the environment at all because it would disrupt the picture quality. Now, you see that image right there? See how that planet is moving away? You should be able to read that. But you can't. So that costs the customers a lot of money. Now, for our technology, our Apex Gamer, if anyone were to say that it comes up to, I'll be careful about that one. That's a brutal lawsuit, by the way. But if you were to say that it's a darker screen, it doesn't read, blah, 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 yeah, we can back that up. I can take your gray screen and blend right into it in the middle of a courtroom. It'd be embarrassing. That would be very embarrassing. Or we can basically just cut out your lawyer altogether and just bring him here, and we could basically do that demonstration for him. So, that ain't gonna work. I guarantee you that not only will he drop your case, we'll hire him. That's going to be embarrassing for you. But he'll buy one of our screens, or we'll just give him one for free to set up in his home to replace his TV. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Isn't God's technology incredible? This is what I see when I come in here and I work. I see my screens fire up here. I see them fire up here. And my cost for my setup is $220. Mind you, we got people who spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a projector, and you can't read that color. It's that neutral color. Now, see here in this demonstration, this is why I like the cockpit. The cockpit's an interesting screensaver. Why? It has multiple shades of black. It reacts much like the OLED horse. A lot of people I've seen try to do the OLED horse. You missed that demonstration one. Way over your head. Right over your head. It's like watching a car pass through a bridge. It's right over your head. Because they did the demonstration, they were saying, look, my screen's picking up this contrast level. No, it's not. Your screen is gray. That's what it is. And what you missed is the OLED demonstration. If you understood the demonstration correctly, what OLED was trying to display, they were not just only displaying, a black horse. They were displaying multiple levels of black levels, including the ultra black sitting behind it, showing how amazing the contrast levels could be read on this particular screen. You, on the other hand, came up with one color, orange or gray or whatever that mess was, matching everything. But you consider that to be black. I guarantee the people who own OLED probably look at those demonstrations and probably laugh their heads off. I guarantee you, any gray screen right now that's making a statement that you're OLED worthy, I bet you the CEOs of that company are laughing their heads off watching your demonstrations. I guarantee you. But when they watch ours, they're impressed. Because we can read this. This is a new nightmare for you. This is the cockpit in outer space. This whole entire thing is ultra dark. It shows different shades of black, as you can see reading on the screen. You have to pick this up in a fully lit environment. It means it can't blend together. You must be to see each individual object separate from itself. And you can't read that. Oh, and which a bigger nightmare? This one or that one now? With that cockpit right here and this one right here? Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. But you're supposed to be to read all that. Yeah, let's have a little fun. Let's go over to... Let's see. Now, this is what they call transition. Transition is when you have your screen, you're in a fully lit environment, you should be able to transition from a contrast level. We do that on the Sony to show you exactly what happens to the gray screen. It gets left behind. Does not pick up. Let me see. We're going here. He's been good. I don't know where he's at, but he's been good. Usually, he's doing some ruckus. I should have named you Ruckus. I've been a perfect name for Taco. Taco's a bit ruckus. ruckus. All right, let me see. Let's go over to, because remember we're on different units here. That's for this unit here. All right, that's for that. This is for over here. Oh, on keyboard. Oh, do 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 do. Do 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 do. Now you see what I'm doing right here in this demonstration. Not only am I showing you can do multiple projector setups, but I'm showing you the advancement of our technology with those projectors and why you don't spend all this money. It's not necessary. You see that nice blanket of white snow sitting over there and ultra black contrast here? They're both the same screen paint on both surfaces at the end of the day. This technology is going to read an extremely high white level while producing an infinity one contrast. You know, that demonstration by TLC, the black and white demonstrations, we don't see those done. We see them in dark environments because, again, they have to fake the contrast levels. You should be able to read this crystal clear with no problem. Of course, because you have a gray screen, you can read it. Problem is, you can't read that. That's the problem. We do both. And also, too, we can see through stuff, too. We can see through screen over there. All right, let's go over here and let's grab, let me see. That's going to play back to back. So I did it on a loop. So I'm going to come over here. Let's see what I want to do. 4K Snow Screensaver Cottage. I've done these so many times, it's not even funny. Now, mind you, if the screen came out so dark, you see all those features in it, you wouldn't be able to see any of that. You wouldn't be able to make any of that out. We do something called black versus black demonstration. When that black paint hits our screen, it's not what our special ingredients. It means it doesn't work anymore. Any black fabric won't work. All that's what the importance of black versus black demonstrations are. And if you notice, if you see here, you can see that you can make out everything in the image. Now, how it was portrayed in other videos on YouTube, which, mind you, we got some phone calls we'll be making today. It was stated that that technology couldn't read at all. That the image was so dark, it was completely unwatchable. Mind you, I have to warn you on this. If you're caught with one of these things, when you have several lawsuits, they're rated on what we sue you for. That's a particular high one. Because, you know, it's a demonstration. You put it on social media, and you make these false statements, this could cause some damage to our company. So what we do is when we take it to court, this is a $10 million lawsuit. It's a very heavy one because it shows the courts at the end of the day you maliciously said very evil things about our products with the intention to try to destroy our company's name. And because of that, we can get that high number. Not only that, we can get you a 20-year prison sentence. Most likely be in the range between 5, 10, and 20. But if you've done enough videos, and we can prove you've done these videos, we can get you a 20-year prison sentence. Very malicious act. It's like going out, and like I said before, any of these fast food restaurants like that guy did, and he did AI of that rat falling into a vat of oil and said he named restaurants at the end of the day and said these were restaurants that were responsible for doing this type of stuff. That's something that can hurt their business. So, you know, now keep in mind for those of you who have made these statements, if you think you have hurt our business, no, our business is protected by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We don't have that issue at all. But the fact that you did say it on a YouTube channel and social media, that's why we're filing the lawsuits against you. So when I sit there and say on camera that there are people on YouTube that will be arrested, that will be going to jail, and will probably lose, well, they will lose everything that they have, there you go. They walk into a courtroom with this thing. It's not going to go well. See, that jealousy. Stop listening to the demon. I warn you guys on that. Let me tell them, talk on that. Stop listening to the demon. Stop listening to that demon. Demon will get you in all kinds of trouble. I like this one. They have this on the lake. This is so beautiful. Look at that. Look at that right there. That's gorgeous. This is one of the things I have to do when people come in and they'll ask me about does the screen see white light? And then we sitting there doing demonstrations like this on the screen. They'd be like, oh, That's crazy. Now you see how bright the screen's picking up? See the reflection of the cabin that's coming off the water? You can see the water's a different color. You can see the different multiple shades of white. I like this one because it shows multiple shades of white triggered off. Now if the black technology couldn't read, that means that the multiple shades of white wouldn't pick up at all, period. Now, I know some of you who you know who you are have come to this channel, and when we mention these certain keywords, you get very afraid. Let me explain something to you quickly. You know that feeling you just felt when I said about a $10 million lawsuit and you could possibly get up to 20 years in jail for this, for what you did? That feeling you have, that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. Because that's going to happen. I know the denial you have in your mind, it's going to happen. Mind you, this is a blessing from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. My Lord is forgiving. He is. If he wasn't, I wouldn't be here today right now having this conversation with you. But you do have to pay for what you have done. So it means that at the end of the day, the things that I had done, when I was out there carrying on and acting up, I had to serve that time. That's why I'm right now here, a free man. I had to serve that time. Doesn't mean because I become a Christian, doesn't mean the Lord's going to say, okay, let him out, blah, blah, blah. No, I had to serve that time. Got to do what's right. God's a just God. That's what he is, a just God. Fair and just God. So that means that you will serve that time. And maybe the Lord will bless you. You find God in there, the Lord may decide to say, hey, you know what, I'll cut that time in half for you, and you can go out, and by the time you go out and leave that world, you'll be a Christian man, a changed man at the end of the day. But you have to be a changed man. This part I try to warn people, don't try to fake it with God. Don't do that. Mind you, do you know how many hairs you have on your head? How many hairs do you have in your beard right now? Do you know? How many hairs in your hair? How much hairs do you have in your whole entire body? Do you know? You don't know it, do you? He knows it. So if he knows how many hairs that you have precisely on your body, how many are gray, how many are black, he knows that. How are you going to lie to someone like that? There you go. Let me see. I'm loving these white levels over here. Let's see. Let's go over to something on here on our cabin. We got our cabin over here. Now, one of the things I explain to churches, and I explain a lot, is why a gray and white screen will not work for you. Why? Because when you're writing scripture from the Bible, those letters are going to be in black. And the reason why they come out fuzzy, the reason why they come out hard to read, because the screen can't read those black levels. That's what happens to your screen. And everything else, because the screen can't make out black, it can't read color either. That's why your color washes out. Look at the promo demonstration of the church that we did many years back. You'll see that they hit the screen with a 7,000 lumen projector. It didn't work. Another problem you have, the projector. The projector, because it has to be such a high caliber machine because of the lighting you have in the environment, and probably on the distance that you have, you're adding extra light to an already stressful environment, the screen itself, which is going to actually wash out even faster. So if someone advised you to take a gray screen and paint it in to fix your church screen, this is an absolute lie. And the reason why, because the text that comes up in the Bible, there's a lot of things in the Bible that come up in black. The text, pictures, all that stuff has black detail into it. You can't see the detail because the screen you have can't read the contrast level. And because it can't read the contrast level, he or she, whoever's advising you to buy this setup to begin with, is going to point you in the direction of very expensive projector. Every time we walk into an environment, the first thing we do is look up and go, wow, I spent $7,000 for that thing at the end of the day, didn't even need it. Could have did it for 50 bucks. Did it for 50 bucks because the screen's black, you don't need all that. So that means that when you hit a church, hits our screen at the end of the day, what happens is that text comes up sharp and vivid. Everything comes up white levels, all that comes up sharp, beautiful. You know why? Screen's black, generates a very high white level. Gray screen picks up a white level, can't read black. That's why you're forced to buy 4K projectors or high 1080p projectors, high res machines, and this costs the customer, it costs the church a lot of money. Now the demonstration perfect example, the YouTuber on the Crow 1176, Jamie Screen Paint Products or Pro Screen Paint Products, in the church he was in, it couldn't fire up the environment. He literally said that to the guy, are we fully lit? Now you should have known that yourself. If you did enough installments, you would know that when you walk into a building, if those fire exits aren't lit, there's a problem there. That means the area's not fully lit because they're always lit in the fire exits. And you can see that majority of the lights in the environment weren't on. And that's when the guy replied back, said, no, this is not fully lit. I would be questioning you at this point. If you have walked into my establishment and you see most of my lights out and you're going to ask me, are they fully lit? Well, we got 6 lights over here that are not on. No, were not fully lit. You can't see this? I was very polite at the end of the day. And as you see, he was pacing back and forth on the stage because he was not happy. A happy customer is going to come off that stage and have a conversation and tell them, man, I like what you did here, so and so and so. This looks incredible. They're going to come out and talk to you. They're not going to be across the stage speaking to you at all. So what he said, well, look how beautiful the image looks. On your side, in the church, it was dark on that side because, again, the fire exits were dark. On his side, where there was lighting at, was the screen. There was really no difference. And then you said, it will look better once we calibrate it. That's the problem he had. This is the no-no he went through the first time. Anyone still in the white screen, a company comes in, puts in a high-powered projector, charges you for that, charges you for your screen. The first thing they're going to say to you, once we calibrate it, it'll look much better. The purpose of him having you come in there was to show him that your screen could generate in the fully lit environment that it's designed to do in that environment without the screen deteriorating. And because you have a great screen paint product and it can't read black, your screen deteriorated in the dark. That's why you said it'll look better once we calibrate it. Most people make that statement when they're in a fully lit environment. So it was looking that bad for you to make that statement. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. So I recently watched that video. His screen paint's not in that video. There's darker screens in there. I'm pretty sure they went for some certified technology. Let me see. But it doesn't matter for him. As long as he gets the money, he takes it from you, that's all that matters. So that's why you got to watch out. Make sure that stuff is tested. Let me see where we want to go with this over here. I want to go with 4K demonstrations. TCL. I didn't butcher that one. Now this is running 235.1. Some people will look at this and go, well, look, no. It's some of the screen is missing. Tops and bottom, just a little bit's missing from it. So 235.1. So then we got the screen popping up over there. Now, he may get mad and upset and say, buddy, the only reason why we mention you is because you've done this. Now, if you didn't do any of this whatsoever, and I'm making these statements like this, then guess what? You have a right to get an attorney and sue me for defamation. But you did do this. So that's why we use you, because you're the fantastic poster child for great paints on why they must be tested, why you must know what you're doing when you're making these products. Mind you, when you're making a screen paint, consider the fact that a person who buys this from you is basically giving you money for a service that's supposed to work. Not only that, keep in mind that it should be something that works right out of the box. Shouldn't be a headache. Shouldn't be going through some crazy nonsense with freaking overbearing instructions and all that stuff. And you shouldn't be plunged in the dark environments where if you just have a little bit of light in there, it'll take your screen out. Shouldn't be going through that at all, period. Now, mind you, the money they can get back. The time you will not be getting back. You will not get that time that you spend installing that in. And time is precious. People don't have time to waste to do this and do that. They want to get it right done the first time and move on. And those customers who purchase that product got the ugly wake-up call that their stuff literally is just basic house paint. There's nothing special about it. So that's why products must be tested. Batch number verifications need to be a thing. These sites like eBay, Amazon, or any form of site that allows you to sell should require batch numbers before you can sell an item. That way the customer is guaranteed that the product is going to work. Now, getting back to the multi. This right here, for anybody else to do this is going to cost the customers a lot of money. Because they're going to advise you, like I said, they can't pick up that 100% contrast. They're going to advise you to spend the money for more expensive projectors. And if you're over running a $1,000 projector, which you're going to pay a lot more money than that for a higher contrast, a whole lot more than that, this is going to cost you $3,000. $3,000 versus my $220. Another thing too, because this is gamer technology, anyone gaming, or I don't care what type of system you have, you can't run it off a gray and white screen. because you won't read it correctly. Even in the dark, you're still not reading it correctly. Okay, you can't read the contrast. Here it is. Boom. We got the future over here. We got a new technology over here. Absolutely gorgeous. I got to hit back these fellows. I got some people overseas. We did some check backs on how much it's going to cost for me to ship overseas. So I got orders in there overseas. Right now, we're just waiting. If you think we're ignoring you, we're not ignoring you. We're waiting to see exactly. We had to ask for zip codes. We got to go back to UPS or FedEx, one of them, and see how much it costs. Because we pay for the shipping costs. That's why I have to know. And then once we get a clear understanding of what's going to cost, we send you back, and that's basically about it. We don't tell you the cost because we pay for the cost. I don't charge my customers for shipping. If we can't ship it, then we don't ship it at all. We don't charge for shipping. That's $70 surcharge fee nonsense. We don't do that. People do, when you're doing paints, if your product is worth and does what it's supposed to do, you'd be able to charge enough to be able to cover your shipping costs and to cover whatever it needs to be done, return policies or whatever, so and so. You should have money banked, by the way, in case any of that pops up for business either way. But you should be able to cover that. We can cover our shipping costs, because the reason why when someone's complaining saying, 24 ounces of this product is getting like $200 something for it. Because, Fernando, the difference between my product and yours, I can do this and you can't. I can read an infinity contrast level. I pick up bright, beautiful colors. I can operate in fully lit environments. I can go anywhere I want with this technology and have a ball at the end of the day. I can go outside. I can go inside. I can use different type of projectors. We got 14,000 of tests in our freaking demonstration, spanning from one company to another company on every level you could possibly think of. Even at one point, knocking out high-grade certified screens to the point where they contact me at the end of the day. So when you do something like that on that level, when you can match TVs and do all that stuff, then you can get that money. But until then, if you can't prove what your product can do, you know what's going to pay for it? They're not going to pay for it, especially when we can easily come in and take you out just like that. You can't do this. And again, that's a short throw projector on the floor that cost me $130. Your projector costs you $3,500, and you still can't do this. So you can't get upset over that. You got to back up what it does in order for you to get that payload. You want that payload, you're going to have to back it up, not match house paint in a live stream. That'll damage your company's name. Let's go get something over here. So that's what he was mad about, saying, oh, instead of paying $200 something for 24, you can buy mine. To do what? Match house paint? I can make your stuff. I literally have made it, sent it back to him. I can make your product. I've been making gray screen paints for years and years, over maybe 5 years. We've been making it for 5. I think maybe higher than that. I'll look it up. But yeah, we've been making it for years. So it's nothing special about it. Any of the gray screens that I see today, I don't consider your product to be special. Why? All right, for the high-end ones that are ambient light rejection, why are you in the dark with a screen that's claiming to be ambient light rejection? For gray screens, you have a screen that's a 2.0. What are you doing in the dark with a 2.0 product? So that means your ambient light rejection don't work. Where's your contrast levels at? Especially for the high-end screens, I'm going to spend $1,500 for a gray screen. That thing better be seeing 100% contrast. And I shouldn't have to spend money for a high-end projector to fix it. And then for an ambient light rejection technology, you spend a lot of time in the dark. So, no, I'm not spending that money. What's the other one too on top of that? Your color balance is way off. So that means you have to calibrate. I've seen a lot of demonstrations of you constantly telling customers to calibrate. That's because your stuff doesn't work. Now, if you can't barely function in a home theater setting, how the freak are you going to operate in commercial? Because commercial has much more brutal lighting in those environments. So you can't operate there either. And then demonstrations outside, oh heck no, you're not going outside. Even when we did demonstrations at 250 inches, and I took a large piece of gray and stuck it up there to show you that it doesn't read color correctly. You don't read outside either, even in the dark. So, no, it doesn't work. So, with that being said, that's the reason why y'all don't get what y'all get for your products. For the screen paints, no, y'all charge way too much. And then the biggest one of them all, besides faking that contrast level, is how much of your product is matching shelf paint. Because I don't see your tests. I go to your websites, I talk to you guys in the day. Question, What's the difference between your product and network grade 773? We get no response back. Some of them block our emails. Now, if you block my email, that tells me from the door I'm buying your product. And if you block my order and you send me back my money, you're in trouble. Because now we take you to court. And I have people do that. You've seen it happen. We've had people literally send money back to our banking accounts because they couldn't back it up. So we find out, you send that money back, we're like, huh, all right, when you use as evidence against you, to charge you in court, say, hey, look, they're selling a product at the end of the day that they can't back up because they gave us back our money. So either you do it there, on YouTube, we do it here, or we do it in a courtroom. Either way, the reason why it must be done, because consumers are getting ripped off left and right. It ain't about your personal feelings at the end of the day. It's about consumers getting ripped off. Consumers should get what they paid for. So I think, what we got? I think tomorrow we're going to do something called Let's Ask. And Let's Ask is going to be us. Why, we got two political going at the same time? What the freak? You don't want to be watching all that. All right, let me see. Gotta be to change it here. We have access to change this one here. Bam. All right, yeah, there's no seen it. We're gonna ask. We're gonna take a camera, set it up. I'm gonna go on the machine, and we're gonna go and we're gonna ask these companies, how do you know your product's not gonna match house paint? And the reason why I'm asking this question first, because we want to get it from the horse's mouth, that it's all documented, because mind you, we do things to back ourselves up in courtrooms. So I'm going to ask you right from the door. So if we buy your product and we do that house paint test, I'm going to do a network grade 773. That's the most brutal grade paint I've ever seen. It's brutal. It has a perfect tone of black in it, which means it can replace majority of 90% of gray screens right now. It's a very brutal product. I told you, when I first popped that lid, you see me in the video, talking about, oh, shoot. Yeah, because I can tell. I developed tons of gray paint. I know a good gray product when I see one. That's a nightmare for you. And I sat there and said in that video, before he did his video, mind you, we did it first, and I said, I'm so glad I don't make gray paint anymore. Because this would have ended me. It would have. It would have destroyed my company. Everything happens for a purpose. It's meant for us to bump in the diamond many years back. Hit that path, because the Lord knew that network grade 773 didn't exist. As a matter of fact, there weren't a lot of grade paints that existed back then at all, period. Most likely, if you wanted a grade paint, what they would do is you go to Home Depot and they take that 1050 or whatever you want to use and they put black paint in it. They would tone it. That's how they would make gray. Now today you got all these different types of grays now. Yeah, it's different now. And the network grade 773 is an absolute nightmare if you have a gray screen. So, we'll contact these big companies, some of them. We have Vivistore makes gray screens, Elite makes gray screens, Black Diamond makes, Black Diamond makes a gray screen? I've never seen a gray screen with Black Diamond. Black Diamond makes darker screens. I can't put them in that category. They don't see, I've never seen one, ever. No, they don't make them. They don't make them. Well, at least he's got the idea at the end of the day why they don't work. Anyway, I've never seen a gray Black Diamond. No. Anyway, any company has a gray screen, Goose screen, paint on screens, Smarter Surface, all of you. How much of your stuff is matching actual gray paint? You're spending $1,500 for a screen, and a customer can slide it off a shelf at $20. So how much is that stuff going to match? I haven't seen any gray versus gray demonstrations on any of these screens. Now, is there a difference between oh, heck yeah. The gunmetal or even dark gray paint versus a gunmetal screen is a massive difference. The gunmetal is definitely beyond that. It's a different form of technology. I know. I've tested it. But the lighter grays, on the other hand, that's an interesting question to ask. And usually most people will lean toward those because spending $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 for a screen is not in some people's budget, so they'll go with a gray one. So how much of that stuff is matching? So before we do this, I'm going to reach out, have a nice little conversation with them, and ask them to see what they say, and then we're going to do the demonstration. So if they ever decide to say, hey, it's defamation, blah, blah, which is not defamation at the end of the day, by the way, but you know what, they try. I can say I had a nice little conversation with them, and they told me it wouldn't match. So that means you lied. And if you lied to me, that means you lied to your customers. There you go. Got how to cover yourself. Now, for some people saying, what does this have to do with multi-setups? It has everything to do with multi-setups. Because even though if you set up your projectors, you're still going to have to be to see a perfect image on your screen. You don't want it washing out. You don't want it becoming too dark. You don't want any of that nonsense. See this little display right here? See right here? Just that alone, right here. You have to be to read this in 100% black. If your screen's gray, you know what color this is going to come up, right? And in order to get that to look right on camera, that means you're going to have to darken your environment. We got shades up here, and it wouldn't be to read with your screen. So that means you would have to be at a much darker environment than we're at right now. And if that's the case, then that means that you're not getting what your projector is designed to do. That whole million something to one whatever contrast is completely useless. Your colors at 1.7 billion or 2 billion or 3 is useless. It's all useless. It's not even one. Ultra short though, that'll really make a difference. You still can't read it. So yeah, it has everything to do with it. Everything to do with it. There's no point spending money for multiple projectors that the screens can't read. What's the point? Alright, there you go in a few minutes. I got some business I gotta go take care of. Some beautiful fish over here, over there, and there. OLED. See how those black levels? But to read all that, it should not be coming up in gray. I think the sad thing I see with projection setups today is the fact that they'll boost so much on color. Y'all don't bring contrast into that. I've never heard y'all say we read 100% contrast. Infinity 1 contrast levels, 100% black contrast levels, contrast levels to match an OLED TV. You never say that. So you want 100% reds, blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and so forth, right? But when it comes to the black levels, you'll settle with gray. But that's supposed to be a superior screen. A superior screen would mean that you read all the colors, including 100% black. Now, for people who want to sit there and say, well, what about 100% white levels? We don't make that statement because we know that any screen, the minute that screen becomes a dark gray, which has to do to pick up its contrast levels a little better, the white levels goes through something we call the sacrifice field. So that's what Taco's channel is right there. That's his channel you guys should watch. I'm going to leave it on there because he'll come out here and look at this. So the sacrifice field is that the darker you make it, the higher the sacrifice you'll go through. So if you're dealing with an ultra black screen, your sacrifice level is extremely high. This is where you have to do something called white level test demonstrations, where you take low lumen projectors, put them in highly stressful, well-lit environments, and that black screen has to be able to read those high white levels next to that white surface. Is it going to match it? No, it's not going to match it. But it has to read high enough that you can make out the image crystal clear, as you're looking at right now. That screen has a test where it picked up very high on the white level test. On low lumens, it could read in here with no problem whatsoever. But if you don't do these tests, what happens is that when the customer basically turns on the light that would affect the screen, a number of things could pop up. That means that your white levels will fail. If your white levels fail, your screens come up too dark and are unwatchable, which we call something oversaturation of contrast levels. For darker screens who claim to be able to pick up these images, you don't, because we can tell when we look at your screen that your corners, see the corners? The corners go dark, like an old-fashioned photo. They go dark around the corners, and then right around here it starts to get small, it starts to squeeze in where the projector has a very difficult time picking up that white light. You'll see this little dark kind of tunnel effect going on where it's dark up in here and dark up in here, but it's bright right in there. That's how we know your screen's not picking up the white levels. We've seen that in a couple of screens. That same effect goes off. So you're not reading any of that. So that's why it's very important to have those contrast levels, be able to pick up those high white levels, why those tests are important, why you have to do black versus black, why you have to do gray versus gray, why you have to do white level tests. And when we go to your sites and we go look for testing, we don't find anything. So you just told me 100% that if I drag you into a courtroom, you can't back your stuff up. If you're a black screen and we don't find tests, we're going to compare you to our testing. You know how that's going to go. So we're going to request 60 black versus black demonstrations. I want to see what the difference between your product against black paint, black film, black plastic, all that stuff. We're going to all test it. Sheets, fabric, whatever. We're going to see all of it. And if you don't have those tests, and mind you, it's time stamped. YouTube has time stamp, which means that if you don't have a timestamp showing that on your timestamp, because some people try to be slick, they try to come up with tests right away, whatever. No. You have to show on timestamp that your product was tested before it was sold. So before you sold the product, those tests need to be available. And if my lawyer requests this and you don't have it, you got a lawsuit coming your way. Because, I mean, anybody who bought that screen and finds out about this, they're going to sue you. Knowing they can get you easy. Because their screen's not properly tested. Look at the grass shade in the back. See, it's darker here and lighter here. This is what I mean by you have to pick up different shades of green. You can't just pick up one flat green because your screen can't read those darker shades. So the darker shades here and here and here, you got to be able to pick all that up. A gray screen can't read that, neither white. You come up with one black, bland color. That's what you come up. See that dark green in the background? This would wreak havoc on your screen. You have to be able to pick all that up. He's camera bombing. Taco, you got to see this. Where are you, Taco? Taco. 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 Taco Denario, Roberto Rodriguez Bird. Taco Bird? Where are you? Probably out here already. Taco Bird. Taco Bird. There's a tabby. There's Taco on TV right now. There's a tabby. It's funny, my buddy was cracking up because he walked in front of the screen. You see his big old head pop up. Taco. 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 Denario. Yeah, I know you hear me. I call you like 4 or 5 times. Look at the screen. Giant tabby, Taco. Giant tabby. Look at this stretch. Got to do a stretch. I'm going, yeah. Taco, look. Look, Taco, look. Look, Taco. Taco, look. Now he sees it. It took forever. Told you. He watches TV. He does. He sits there and watches TV. That's why he has a TV. Like, why do you have a TV? Because he watches TV. He literally sits there and watches TV. You see the giant cat? It's like, wow, this is the biggest screen ever. And for him, it is. He's watching. Now, I have to ever worry about him jumping up there? No, never, ever. He's not that type of cat. He doesn't do that. He'll sit there and just watch. Why are they bigger than you, Taco? You're the same cat. Why are they bigger? He doesn't even know. He's just sitting there watching like, what is going on here? It's a cat right over there. There's one right over there. And what is that cat doing over there? What is it doing over there? I'm going to leave it on for you, buddy boy. Yeah, I'm going to leave it on for you. You want something? You want some milk today? Would you like some milk? Every once in a while, I give him a little milk. He likes Nestle's Quick. He likes that. Who the freak climbed up on that? Okay, you wouldn't be that high up. You actually are that high up because I can see the road way down there. I'd be afraid to spook the cat. They don't care. We jump off that, land somewhere. Jump some off, land somewhere. You got that freaking like shock absorbent system. Allows you to go where you want. Can you imagine if humans had the ability to jump like cats, man? Everybody be parkoured. Parkour wouldn't even be a big thing. Because you would just have somebody go, you know what, I'm going to just jump over to that roof over there with no problem. Land on your feet. Fall off or something, land on your feet. Interesting, right? So that right there is professional parkour. Right there. Right there. When you're watching TV. All right, people. I hope you enjoyed our time we had here. I try to come on here and show multi-screen setups. I got to do a recording pretty soon. I got to do a couple of shorts on this. But I come here and I try to explain a lot to you because there's a lot that you should know. And these are questions you have to ask. The reason why people who make these products don't like me because I educate you and tell you things you need to ask for. If not, it's going to be your grief at the end of the day, what you're going to go through. It's going to be your grief. While you're sitting in the dark, you spent all the money for a projector, and you got to go to a form site where someone's going to tell you to calibrate. Some people don't even know what calibrating is. They don't even want to open, they don't even want to go in their projector and mess around with the settings. And you're telling me I got to calibrate this machine now? See, in your mind, when people, the first time a person buys a projector, the first thing, it happened to me, the first thing you think at the end of the day is that I'm going to have this big screen on the wall, I'm going to have my lights on, just like my TV. That's what I thought. And then when you get it, the reality kicks in, you're not doing any of that whatsoever. It's not going to look the same way as your TV. You don't look at your phone when you look at the screen like, it doesn't even look like my phone. Yeah. Yeah, you have to go through that nightmare. Oh. You enjoying yourself? Look at that. That's pretty cool. You got a cat walking down these, enjoying yourself. Usually you moves when I'm walking past somebody. You don't move. You don't join this little TV show. You like it? It's pretty cool, huh? Right? Giant screen. Get your fishes right down. Why do the dude when I want to be on camera? He's going up the camera. Like, oh, not going to be on camera today. Man, that is a steep hill. Look at it drop on that. Where is that at? Definitely, it's another country. It looks like San Francisco. No, San Francisco doesn't open up to a little sea area. This is a different area. But man, I had a friend of mine over in San Francisco. I had to ask you, like, how? Like, Allentown Hills be killing me. I'm used to it now, but the first game, they were killing me. I'm used to so many hills. But you people in San Francisco, how do y'all do it? I know y'all can't be climbing up them hills. Y'all climb them hills like that? Your calves have got to be massive. Man. Oh, there he goes, cleaning himself on camera. It never fails. Taco, you failed. Oh, he sees the cats over there. Like, I will clean myself in front of the cats. But yeah. I was like, how? How y'all biking over there? I can't imagine. I saw the hill. Oh, you have to have electric bikes over there. I mean, imagine when they didn't have electric bikes. Jeez, man. Y'all hills are like, bam. It ain't like, I've been to San Francisco one time. And I've never seen anything like it. You can literally sit on the top of a hill and watch 6 blocks go all the way down. Like right there, you can watch them do. You skateboarders in San Francisco going down those hills? Yeah, you guys are crazy. That's insane. My goodness, I thought the hills we had around here were brutal. You can literally sit there on the top of the hill and watch 6 blocks go all the way down. 4K tropical fish screensaver. If I'm on camera, just talking at the end of the day, that means I must be plotting something, right? Oh. Mr. Bud, I tell you that, Mr. Bud is an interesting bloke. Oh. Oh, you show it off? Hold it for a minute. Let's put that back on. I get mad now. Commercial popped on. And now you're upset. Watch your commercial. How dare you? It'll be changing out in a few minutes. You'll be good. Meanwhile, I'm getting cooked. Is it hot in here? Yeah, it's super hot. But it's tolerable. Why? Because these are blocked. Because the light, the heat that comes off these lights are crazy. These things right here absorb the heat, which is nice because, man, it gets super hot in here. But the new ones I got coming in, the cherry blossoms, ooh, they're going to look beautiful. I can't wait. There we go. How you going to bounce me out of a commercial back into a commercial? YouTube, you do too much, man. Are we out yet? There we go, Taco. You got your cats back. Look, I'm mad right there, like, dagnam, daddy-o. Taco Yo. Your cats, which one comes over there, Taco Yo? Taco Yo. Daddy-o. It's a new TV show. Taco Yo. Daddy-o and Taco Yo. Did you ever know that you're my hero? Bum, 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 bum. You're everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle. That's an eagle. Eagle. Feel the wind beneath my wings. My wings, my wings, my wings, my wings, my wings. See? Should be able to read crystal clear. See that? Black technology. People who call yourself making black technology, we'll be challenging you next. Because again, y'all don't know what y'all doing. It's supposed to come up clean. See how clean that comes up? Yep, I got to pick up blue today. You know why? Because I want to work on... Actually, I got another idea we're building too. So we're building inside of a unit instead of outside of the unit. And this other build I want to do. I want to try something different, you know what I mean? I've been building buildings. This time I want to build the structure, like the tables, the chairs, and all that stuff. I want to build all that stuff. So we're going to build the inside of it first. So we want to do the tavern, but the tavern can't be built as we built the opposite way. It has a closure around it, but we literally have to build the inside before we can build the outside. Is that crazy or what, people? Is that crazy or what? Absolutely madness. Madness, I tell you. Heck, let me hit my line again. Madness, I tell you. So yeah, we're going to build it from the outside, the inside out. If you understand that means something of a crazy thing. But yeah, that's what I want to do. This should be fun. All right, people. Hope you enjoyed showing you how you can set up a whole setup for under $500. You definitely can do it for under $500 easily. You can do it for under about $300. You can do it easily, no problem. Do you need a lot of expensive high-end projection? Do you need high-end 4K? No. Do you need to calibrate? Do you need to be stuck in dark environments? No. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff. No. Let's have some fun here. Oh, look at that. Look how sleepy he is. It's a tiny taco cat. Watch this. Bam! You should be able to do that. Larry, your angle gain should be that hot. Let's go over here for a minute. Bam! Y'all can't do that. See, look how beautiful image pops up. Anywhere I go, when I had the house, I would go from the side here. You can read from here, because that's how crazy that angle gain is on that screen. Look at that. You can see the kitty over there. No problem. Look at that. Yeah. See that slither? That slither from the top to the bottom? That means that screen is reading. When you see that nice slither of blue. Kaboom. There you go. Better be to do that. Bam! This is just having some fun with my trolls at the end of the day. Now, mind you, we drag you in that courtroom, and you made that statement that you said that our product was so dark you couldn't read, and I do this to you in here, you know what's going to happen to you, right? All right, so make sure you know. Don't let us catch you. We catch you. I can walk all around. Matter of fact, you're going to do it for me. You're going to hold my camera, and you're going to show me every angle of that screen. You're going to do the recording for me in court. I'm going to have my lawyer request it. If my lawyer requests it and the judge allows it, he'll do it. Because we need it for purpose, for theory. We need it for theory purpose. All right? All right, then. This is why when you guys are jealous, so jealous, and this is what happened, so jealous of Mr. Bird that they made a false accusations about my products to try to damage my company's name, to drag me under, so that way the other one can take over. How did that work out? We already knew what your plan was. So their plan was basically to make all these false accusations, fake unboxings on my products, and to make it look like our stuff didn't work. So Jamie and Rogers could come in and basically continue to scam and rip you guys off. And what happened when you came against my Lord's product? Because when you're doing all that stuff, you know you were doing that against too also Jesus Christ, God. You were doing it against him. It's his product. This is all his stuff. You were doing this against him. Do you think God was going to stand there and let you get away with that? No. What happened to your businesses? They all fell through, right? Now you're going to be hunted, and pretty soon you'll be prosecuted. And my business is still here. Matter of fact, my technology has advanced to now 2026 technology. That allows me to go anywhere I want to go. Something that no other screen can do right now. That shows Christians at the end of the day, When you got people that are trying to disrupt or cause trouble in your lives at the end of the day, that's why you give it to God. Because God will see you through every single time. My enemies are being destroyed. My enemies' businesses are not even blessed. As of, what time we have? I have to make 3 phone calls. And these 3 phone calls is what I've been directed to do. It's going to pretty much, well, it's going to do what it needs to do. That's pretty much it. There's the 3 calls I have to make today. That's basically about it. But as I said before, follow God. Don't follow the devil. The devil will lead you to destruction every single time. You got people right now that are going to spend the rest of their remaining time on this earth in a prison system, and some are going to be broke because there's no anywhere you're going to be spent. Give my company, at the end of the day, a $10 million lawsuit. You don't have that type of money. So this is where the devil led you down. And the devil also told you at the end of the day that no one's going to find you. But God found you. God knows where you're at. And if God knows where you're at, we will know where you're at. And if we know where you're at, we'll see you in court. This is God's technology. That's why we say powered by God's technology. God is amazing. God is a protector of all our technology. In the 15 years I've been doing this business, not one company has ever been able to reverse or design our technology. Not one. Even when given permission, they still fail. Because you know why? This is our blessing at the end of the day. This is what was promised to me by my Lord. And for those who feel that you're going to try to take this product down or destroy anything we have, you have to deal with my Lord first. You understand? All right, with that being said, I got to go. I got some promo demonstrations to do, showing multi-projection screen setups and affordable projectors to the other channels. Thank you for your time. Be safe out there today. Seek God, and God bless. And of course, always, we give all credit, all glory to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for blessing us with amazing technology, because we won for him. And yes, we showed the computers because he showed us how to build our own computers and sculpture artwork in the background. All this stuff comes from God. We give him the glory for all things, because without him, none of this would ever be possible. With that being said, look at these crazy sculptures. I never get used to these things. Without that being said, thank you for your time, and God bless.